Dre and Smiley, trending Tuesdays. What's trending, Dre?
Man, this might be a hot topic, but tipping.
Tipping.
Tipping's trending. Yeah, man. So I was reading an article in USA Today where it was talking about, the tipping, how it's, potentially gotten out of control in some cases. People are, you know, completely for or completely against. There are a few that fall in that middle ground of tipping, right? And so what the article talks about is it seems like every industry, everywhere you go, for the smallest service, we're being asked to tip. And I've noticed this too. Now, let me just preface this by saying that since, you know, I started paying for my own meals, things like that, um, I've been what I feel is a good tipper. 20, 25, 30% if it's, great service. Reason being, in college, I had a friend of mine that worked at a restaurant, and she would always complain about, you know, the services that she provided relative to the limited tips that she got. So it resonated with me. I've always been a good tipper. However, if I walk into Starbucks and place an order for a mocha latte, carmioco, chocolate asiante grande, and I pay them, and I walk to the end of the counter and pick up my drink, I don't know that requires tipping. I walk into a sandwich shop, order my sandwich, and they spin the little thing around for you to pay with your credit card, and the suggested tip has already been selected. Am I wrong, Smiley? Am I wrong in terms of like, paying someone to make the sandwich that they're being paid to make, and things like that? Am I
I
wrong?
think you are because I've been traveling for 30 plus years and I tip because I'm always in restaurants, delis, whatever. And if you understand the economics of a waiter or a waitress or someone in that service space, they sometimes they make below the hourly wage because they're expected to get a tip of 15, 20, 25%. So that's where the bulk of their income comes is from the tips. They don't have a high hourly wage because they're servicing four, five, seven tables, and that's where their source of income comes in. So I have some friends they'll tip 5%. Oh, she wasn't that great. I'm like, dude, this is her job. I mean, your minimum should be 15% unless the food was terrible and she didn't cook it. She just brought it to you. Or he didn't cook it. He just brought it to you.
Yeah,
Quick story is a
yeah.
couple of years ago, prior to prior to the pandemic, every year we would go to the Capitol Grill here in Tampa for Terry's birthday. She loved that. So one year I was doing my taxes, I was doing my paperwork. It was in 2014, and I realized that I short tipped the lady because I thought I tipped her 20%, and I found that I really tipped her like 9%. So once I realized that, I went back to the Capitol Grill 7, 8 months later, and I gave her like $40 as a tip. And she's like, she remembered me because we've been going there every year. And she said, oh, I was like, you know what? I did my numbers. I found out I short tipped you. She's like, you didn't have to do that. I was like, no, my karma wouldn't let me sleep because I wanted to make it whole. And she just was like, wow, Mr. Lee is amazing. I was like, no, it's karma. You got to keep it in balance. So I think if you get service, you got to tip.
You got a tip. I agree with you 110%. Going out to eat, any restaurant, sit down and get service, you're going to get a tip. If I get bad service, I still tip. Um, I may just write a little note on there or something like that. Um, 9 times out of 10, I won't leave a note if it's bad service. However, if I'm walking up to a counter
Mhm.
to receive, to pick up something, um, during COVID, it kind of made sense because everyone was struggling, especially, you know, those that were had these restaurants and things open when it was hard to open them. Everyone was struggling financially. During that period, 2020, 2021, part of 2022, it kind of made sense to give a little extra, right? Because everyone's, if you have it to give, everyone's trying to make it. Um, However, today, I guess my only challenge is at the counter when I'm, picking up something. You call in an order for carry out and you pick it up. It's kind of like, it's, now it's not the waiter. It's not the waiter. This is a different person. It's the barista or, someone like that. I realize this may not be a popular sentiment. I'm sure most won't share this, but I'm going to go out on a ledge and say that, yeah, it's tough sometimes. All that said, I'll just add this one caveat that, typically, and you're in sales, so you know this, typically people more easily come out of their pocket based on how you make them feel. And there definitely have been times when I've gone to the counter to pick something up and the guy, chats me up and super friendly, offering, something a little above and beyond in terms of, you want some extra such and such, or do you need such and such? That does move me to want to give more. I will say that. What are your final thoughts on tipping?
So I think when you look at the barista, when you go to the bar and you're sitting at a bar and you buy some drinks, Hennessy or
I
Cavassier.
don't drink.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's a good one. Well, I would say, well, the way you described it, if the barista makes you feel good, then you reward him with a tip or her with a tip versus it's an obligation to give a tip because I think if we have,
Yes,
maybe we
yes.
should get a podcast with a barista to figure out their dynamics because they're a polished
It's a good idea.
professional in their craft, like a bartender. So those who go to bars, if you tip your bartender, then you should tip your barista because they're just not doing the alcohol, but they're skilled in many capacities, I believe.
We're going long here, but let's talk about that for just a second. So the bartender, again, I really don't drink, but sometimes you sit at the bar with buddies, and so is the bartender, and I don't think we can answer this now, but let's try. Does the bartender offer more of a service than someone who's making your sandwich that you're picking up, or your cup of coffee that you're picking up, or something that you just, again, going by to pick up? Does the bartender offer more of a service? I think they do. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think it's similar. I think it's like oranges and
Okay.
tangerines. Macintosh
Okay.
apples and Granny Smith apples. This is on the same side of the road.
It's all the
That's
same.
what I believe.
Yeah, just okay.
So
All right, sounds good. Well, at least at the very least, I think we have something for our audience to discuss amongst their peer group. Uh, please tip, please tip where you feel appropriate, especially waiters, waitresses, things like that, and anywhere else you feel like it's deserved. I hope you guys have a great remainder of the week, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.